Hey everyone, and welcome to rawCast. I'm Artie, and I'm super stoked to be kicking off our very first episode.
And I'm Allie, excited to be here.
We're diving headfirst into this world of uncomfortably useful insights.
Mhm.
All about brand marketing leadership, those tricky culture issues, the ever-evolving landscape of AI, and hey, who knows, maybe we'll even throw in some fun along the way.
Think of us as your guides to navigating this wild world of marketing and beyond.
Exactly, and for our first deep dive, we wanted to tap into a source that might raise a few eyebrows. We're going to be dissecting the 2024 U.S. presidential election.
I can already hear the marketing minds buzzing out there. What can we possibly learn from politics?
Well, stick with us because we're about to unpack some serious marketing gold, regardless of your political leanings. We're talking about how Donald Trump secured his second term purely from a marketing perspective.
We're going beyond the headlines and analyzing the strategies, the tactics, the messaging that resonated with voters.
Get ready to have your marketing minds blown.
Okay, let's dive in. Now, the outcome of the election was decisive, to say the least. But remember, we're not here to debate politics. We're dissecting the marketing playbook that led to victory.
And one thing that jumps out immediately is the unwavering consistency of Trump's messaging.
It's fascinating how he hammered home those core themes, Make America Great Again and America First, relentlessly throughout both campaigns and his first term.
It was everywhere. Rallies, social media interviews, merchandise, you name it. It's almost like a marketing mantra.
And that's a powerful lesson for any brand. It's not just about coming up with a catchy slogan. It's about weaving that core message into every single touch point, creating a unified and unforgettable brand experience.
Think about brands like Nike with their just do it ethos or
Uh-huh.
Apple's relentless pursuit of innovation. It permeates everything they do.
It's about creating that immediate recognition, that instant connection with your audience.
So for all the marketing masterminds out there, ask yourselves, what's your core message? Are you shouting it from the rooftops? Are you weaving it into the very fabric of your brand?
Because consistency is key to cutting through the noise and making a lasting impact.
Now, another crucial element of Trump's success was his campaign's laser focus on their target audience. They knew exactly who they were talking to and what made them pick.
They understood their desires, their fears, their frustrations, and they tapped into those emotions with surgical precision, especially in those key swing states that ultimately determine the outcome.
And this is where things get really interesting for marketers. Because in today's hyper-connected world, understanding your audience isn't just a good idea, it's a matter of survival.
You can't afford to be generic. You can't afford to be all things to all people. You need to zero in on your ideal customer, understand their pain points, their aspirations, their motivations.
And that means going beyond basic demographics. It's about psychographics. It's about understanding their values, their lifestyles, their digital habits.
It's about building a detailed picture of who they are, what they care about, and how you can provide real value to their lives.
Think of it like building a relationship.
Hmm?
The more you know about someone, the better you can connect with them.
And that connection is everything in marketing. It's what builds trust, loyalty, and ultimately conversions.
Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, social media. It's no secret that Trump's use of platforms like Twitter, now X, and Truth Social was, well, let's just say unconventional.
Love him or hate him, you can't deny the impact he had. He basically bypassed traditional media and created his own direct line of communication with supporters.
He understood the power of raw, unfiltered messaging, of connecting with his audience on a visceral level. He used social media to control the narrative, to mobilize his base, and to generate constant buzz.
Now, we're not saying you need to adopt Trump's exact style. That's probably not a good idea for most brands. But there are valuable lessons to be learned here.
It's about recognizing the transformative power of social media, the ability to connect directly with your audience, to build communities, to spark conversations.
And it's about being bold, experimenting with different formats, different tones, different approaches. It's about finding what works for your brand and running with it.
Don't be afraid to push the boundaries, to challenge the status quo, to be a little bit raw.
Just remember, with great power comes great responsibility. So always be mindful of your brand's values and be prepared to handle any potential backlash.
Now, another aspect of Trump's campaign that's worth analyzing is their mastery of emotional storytelling.
They didn't just present facts and figures, they tapped into people's deepest fears, their hopes, their aspirations. They painted a picture of a better future, a future that resonated with their target audience on a deeply emotional level.
Think about those iconic Make America Great Again rallies. It wasn't just about policy speeches. It was about creating a shared experience, a sense of belonging, a feeling of hope.
And that's a powerful lesson for any marketer. People don't just buy products or services, they buy into stories, into emotions, into a sense of purpose.
They want to feel something. They want to be part of something bigger than themselves.
So the question is, what story are you telling? Does it resonate with your audience on an emotional level? Does it inspire them, motivate them, move them to action?
Because in a world overflowing with information and choices, emotion is what cuts through the clutter and makes your brand truly memorable.
Now, one thing that often gets overlooked is the agility and adaptability of Trump's campaign. They were constantly adjusting their strategies, reacting to news cycles, pivoting in response to new challenges.
It was like they were playing a game of 4D chess, always one step ahead of their opponents.
And in today's rapidly changing world, that kind of agility is essential for any business. You can't afford to be rigid. You can't afford to be stuck in your ways.
You need to be able to adapt, to evolve, to embrace new technologies and trends.
Think of it like surfing. You need to be able to ride the waves, adjust to the changing currents, and stay balanced even when the waters get rough.
And that means being open to new ideas, being willing to experiment, and maybe even embracing a little bit of chaos.
Because in the end, the most adaptable brands are the ones that survive and thrive in the long run.
Now, speaking of standing out, let's not forget that Trump, for better or worse, was a master of differentiation.
He was loud, he was brash, he broke all the rules of traditional politics. And that's exactly what made him so memorable.
He understood the power of being different, of challenging conventions, of creating a brand that was impossible to ignore.
Now, again, we're not saying you need to go full Trump, but there's a valuable lesson here.
It's about finding your unique selling proposition, that special something that sets you apart from the competition.
What makes you different? What makes you stand out in a crowded marketplace?
Once you identify that, shout it from the rooftops, weave it into your messaging, make it the foundation of your brand identity.
Because in a world full of copycats, authenticity is your most valuable asset.
Now let's address the elephant in the room. Trump's approach was undeniably controversial, and it's important to acknowledge that controversy can be a double-edged sword.
On the one hand, it can generate massive attention, keep you in the headlines, and make you the talk of the town. On the other hand, it can alienate potential customers, damage your reputation, and even lead to boycotts.
So the key takeaway here is to be strategic about controversy. If you're going to court it, do it with a clear purpose in mind and be prepared to handle the potential fallout.
Have a crisis communication plan in place. Be transparent about your values and be ready to engage with critics in a constructive way.
Now, amidst all the digital noise, Trump's campaign also demonstrated the enduring power of personal touch. Those rallies, those meet and greets, those handshakes, they created a sense of connection that transcended the digital realm.
And that's a powerful reminder for all of us marketers. In a world increasingly dominated by technology, human connection is more important than ever.
It's about creating experiences that go beyond the screen, whether it's events, personalized interactions, or exceptional customer service.
It's about making people feel seen, heard, and valued.
Because at the end of the day, people crave connection. They crave authenticity. They crave experiences that make them feel something real.
So don't underestimate the power of the human touch. It can be your secret weapon in a world that's increasingly impersonal.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about consistency audience, targeting social media mastery, emotional storytelling, agility, differentiation, controversy, and the power of personal touch.
Ooh, that's a lot to unpack, right? But these are the key takeaways from our deep dive into the marketing playbook that helped secure Trump's second term.
Now, before we wrap things up, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. Think about your brand as a candidate in the marketplace.
Are you running a winning campaign? Are you connecting with your audience on a deeper level? Are you standing out from the crowd? Are you adapting to the ever-changing landscape?
Because in the end, marketing is all about winning hearts and minds. It's about persuading people to choose you, to believe in you, to join your tribe.
So take these lessons to heart and go out there and create a marketing campaign that's as bold, as unconventional, as unforgettable as Trump himself.
Stay curious and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the world of marketing.
We'll catch you on the flip side.